Welcome back, everyone. We're about to take a deep dive into some seriously fascinating material. We're going to be exploring Napoleon Hill's law of success. And here's the really cool part. We're going way back to the 1920s, using audio recordings of Hill's actual lectures.
It's amazing, right? These recordings give us this incredible glimpse into his thinking. I mean, we're talking almost a century ago. And what's incredible is how relevant his ideas still are today. Like he was ahead of his time.
Absolutely. He wasn't just talking about, how to make a quick buck. He was really digging deep into the mindset, the principles, the habits that lead to true and lasting success. So it's so much more than just like working hard.
Yeah. He believed that success is about harnessing the power of your mind. And imagination plays a huge role in that.
I love that. Okay, so one of the things that really struck me as we were prepping for this deep dive was Hill's concept of the $1 million mistake. He actually experienced this himself, right?
He did, yeah. He shared how he lost a significant amount of money over a 10-year period, like a lot of money. It would be like $750,000 in today's money.
Wow.
And you know why he lost it? Because he didn't prioritize saving.
It's something a lot of us can relate to, right? It's so easy to get caught up in that cycle of spending. But Hill saw that experience as this wake-up call, this stark reminder that financial stability is foundational.
Absolutely. It's about creating that solid base so you can actually pursue those bigger dreams.
So what did he suggest people do to avoid making that same $1 million mistake?
Well, he was a huge advocate for cultivating the habit of saving, even if it's just small amounts. It's that consistency that matters.
I think it's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking, oh, I'll start saving when I make more money. But Hill's point was that it's not about how much you earn. It's about developing that discipline, that habit of putting something aside consistently.
Yeah, he saw that as character building, not just wealth building. It was about delaying gratification, resisting those impulses. Back then, one of the examples he gave was people wasting their hard-earned money on bootleg liquor.
Bootleg liquor. That's so 1920s.
I know, right? But it makes you think, what are our modern-day equivalents?
Oh, totally. Like, I know I've definitely been guilty of some excessive online shopping. Maybe a few too many lattes.
That's it, yeah. Or those expensive hobbies that we dabble in but don't really pursue.
Oh, or lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Always thinking this could be the one.
Exactly. Hill's point was that these destructive spending habits, they can really sabotage our dreams. They keep us stuck in this cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, never quite reaching our full potential. And what's interesting is he didn't frame financial stability as this like restrictive thing.
Right. It's not about deprivation.
It's about freedom. It's about having the resources to pursue your passions, to take those risks, to create the life you truly want.
I love that. It's like that saying, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy freedom.
Absolutely. It gives you options. And what's fascinating is that Hill was already talking about financial literacy way back then. He was drawing from research like The Millionaire Next Door.
That book really challenged my assumptions about wealth. Like, you'd think millionaires are all living these extravagant lifestyles. But the reality is, most of them live pretty modestly.
Right. They're not flashing their cash. They're investing it. They're thinking long term.
It's about building that solid foundation so you can really create lasting success.
And speaking of success, Hill believed that financial stability was just the first step. It was the foundation.
So what came next? What did you build upon that financial foundation?
Well, he believed that once you had that financial security, you could start taking more risks. You could start taking initiative.
Initiative. You talked about that a lot.
Yeah, he saw initiative as that inherent drive to take action, to make things happen without needing to be told what to do.
Be proactive. Take ownership.
Exactly. And he had this amazing story about how he used his own initiative to secure a $25,000 line of credit for his school. And this was back when $25,000 was like a fortune.
Wait, what? Tell me more about that story. How did he pull that off?
Well, his school was struggling financially, and instead of waiting for someone else to solve the problem, he came up with a plan. He identified the need and took action.
It reminds me of those entrepreneurs who see potential where others see nothing. Like Bill Gates and Paul Allen launching Microsoft, when most people didn't even understand what a personal computer was.
Precisely. That's initiative in action. And Hill believed that a key ingredient in fueling that initiative was imagination.
Okay, so not just daydreaming here. We're talking about using imagination as a tool to create real-world results.
Exactly. And he distinguished between two types of imagination. First, there's synthetic imagination, which is combining existing ideas in new ways.
Like taking the best features of different smartphones to create an even better model.
Exactly. And then there's creative imagination, which is tapping into a deeper wellspring of ideas. This is where those groundbreaking inventions, those artistic masterpieces come from.
So synthetic is like remixing the hits, but creative is writing a whole new chart topper. It makes me wonder, do we all have both types of imagination?
Hill believed everyone possessed imagination, but it's like a muscle that needs exercise.
So how do we exercise it?
He suggested surrounding yourself with stimulating input, like books, conversations, nature, art, anything that expands your thinking.
Makes sense. You got to feed your imagination.
And he also believed that one of the biggest blocks to imagination was fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown.
We've all been there, right? That fear can be so paralyzing.
He suggested techniques like autosuggestion and visualization to kind of retrain your mind to start seeing possibilities instead of limitations.
So it's about shifting that inner dialogue from doubt to belief, which seems to connect with another key ingredient for success: enthusiasm.
Yes, Hill called enthusiasm the driving force of achievement. And he wasn't just talking about surface level excitement, he was talking about a deep, passionate energy that fuels your actions and inspires others to follow your lead.
Think about those magnetic leaders throughout history. People like Martin Luther King Jr., whose passion for change resonated with millions.
Their enthusiasm was contagious, it inspired action, and it's closely linked to self-confidence. When you're truly passionate about something and you believe in yourself, you're more likely to persevere.
You're unstoppable.
Yeah.
But let's be real, not everyone wakes up feeling like they can conquer the world. So how do we cultivate that enthusiasm when we're just not feeling it?
Well, Hill had some great tips for that. First, surround yourself with other enthusiastic people. Enthusiasm is contagious, right?
Totally. It's like that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Exactly. So think about the people you're spending time with. Are they lifting you up? Or are they kind of dragging you down?
You got to be mindful of that energy. So surround yourself with positive people, check. What else?
He also suggested focusing on your goals and really visualizing yourself achieving them.
I can see that. Like if you can really see it, really feel it, that excitement starts to build.
Right, and it gives you something to work towards, something to be excited about.
It's like having a clear destination. It makes the journey more exciting. Okay, so focus on your goals, visualize them. Got it. Anything else?
Yeah, and this one's important, take action. Sometimes all it takes is one small step towards your goal to spark that enthusiasm.
I love that. Don't wait for motivation to strike. Create it. Just do something.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm feeling more enthusiastic already. But even with all the enthusiasm in the world, I think we all struggle with self-control. It's like knowing what we should do, but not always doing it.
Self-control, the ultimate challenge, right? And Hill believed it wasn't something you were born with, but a skill you could develop.
So it's not about being some superhuman with unwavering discipline. You can actually train yourself to become more self-controlled.
Yeah, he suggested starting small, identify those areas where you struggle, and work on them gradually.
So like if you're trying to eat healthier, maybe don't try to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start with one small change.
Exactly. It's about making those small, consistent improvements over time. It's like building a muscle. You got to start with those lighter weights and gradually increase the resistance. And he really emphasized the importance of having clear goals.
Because if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Right. And having that strong sense of purpose. Why are you doing this? What's driving you?
Because if you don't have a clear why, it's so much harder to resist those temptations and stay focused. Oh, and here's another thing Hill talked about. It's not about deprivation. It's about making conscious choices.
That's it. It's not about denying yourself all the good things. It's about aligning your choices with your values and your goals.
So like enjoying a delicious meal with friends, that's great. But mindlessly snacking while scrolling through social media, maybe not so much.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. We're all human. We're going to slip up.
Yeah, it's not about being perfect. It's about getting back on track.
Progress, not perfection.
Now, it seems like self-control plays a big role in Hill's Mastermind Principle. Remember, that's his idea that we can achieve so much more when we work together.
Right. It's about surrounding yourself with like-minded people who share your values and your vision.
It's not just about having more people. It's about having the right people. People who challenge you, support you, and inspire you to be your best self.
Exactly. And for that to work, you need clear communication.
That's crucial. If you're not communicating effectively, it's like trying to build a house without a blueprint.
And mutual respect. You have to value each other's perspectives,
Yeah.
even if you don't always agree.
It's about creating that space where everyone feels heard and
Yeah.
valued. Okay, so we've got self-control, communication, respect. What else did Hill emphasize for successful collaboration?
Well, he also talked a lot about effective communication in general, like not just within a mastermind group, but in all aspects of life. Whether you're writing a sales letter, giving a speech, or just having a conversation.
It's such a fundamental skill, but I think it's often overlooked.
Yeah, and he had some really insightful tips for improving our communication skills, like first and foremost, active listening.
Truly paying attention to what the other person is saying, not just waiting for your turn to speak.
Right. And clear articulation, making sure you're expressing your thoughts in a way that's easy to understand.
So no rambling or going off on tangents.
And he also talked about the importance of tailoring your message to your audience.
So like knowing who you're talking to and what's going to resonate with them.
Exactly. It's about meeting people where they're at.
It seems like there's a lot of overlap between effective communication and critical thinking.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in today's world, where we're bombarded with information from all sides.
Yeah, it's like how do we sift through all the noise and figure out what's true, what's important, what's worth paying attention to?
Well, Hill emphasized the importance of questioning assumptions, both our own and those of others.
So not just accepting things at face value, really digging deeper.
Exactly. And considering multiple perspectives, looking at things from different angles.
Yeah, not getting stuck in our own echo chambers.
And he also talked about the importance of being aware of our own biases.
Oh, those are tricky, aren't they?
They can really distort our perception of reality.
So it's about cultivating a more objective view, being willing to challenge our own beliefs.
And strong critical thinking skills also help us with concentration.
Oh, tell me about it. In our world of constant distractions, concentration feels like a superpower.
Right. Hill suggested minimizing distractions as much as possible, like turning off those notifications, creating a dedicated workspace.
It's about creating those boundaries, protecting our time and energy.
And he also talked about setting clear goals for each work session.
So like knowing exactly what you're trying to accomplish before you sit down to work.
Exactly. That way you're less likely to get sidetracked. And he emphasized the importance of practicing mindfulness.
So training our minds to stay present, to resist that urge to multitask or check our phones every 5 minutes.
Exactly. It's about creating that space for focused work.
And Hilaire believed that all of these skills, effective communication, critical thinking, concentration, they all contribute to cooperation.
That's right. Remember his mastermind principle? He believed that we could achieve so much more when we work together.
It's like when we combine our strengths, our knowledge, our perspectives, amazing things can happen.
Exactly. He was a big believer in the power of synergy. He talked about the importance of building strong teams, having clear roles and shared values.
Open communication, mutual respect, it all comes back to that.
It does. And he also reminded us that cooperation isn't about sacrificing our individuality. It's about recognizing that everyone brings something unique to the table.
Like that beautiful tapestry where each thread contributes to the overall design. But even with the best intentions and the strongest team, we're going to face challenges along the way, right?
Oh, absolutely. Setbacks are inevitable. But Hill believed that those setbacks, they're not failures. They're opportunities for growth.
It's about how we respond to those challenges. Do we let them defeat us? Or do we learn from them and come back stronger?
Exactly. And he emphasized the importance of resilience, that ability to bounce back from adversity.
It's like fall 7 times, stand up 8.
That's it. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about having the courage to keep going. And, so many of the most successful people in history, they faced incredible challenges. It's often those challenges that forge character.
It's about embracing the whole journey, the highs and lows.
And he also pointed out that true success wasn't just about external achievements. It was about living a life of purpose, aligning your actions with your values.
It's about making a positive impact, leaving the world a little better than you found it.
Exactly. And he believed that anyone could cultivate these qualities, the initiative, the imagination, the self-control, the communication skills, the critical thinking, the collaborative spirit. All of these things contribute to success. And, we also have to learn to overcome our own limitations, those internal obstacles that can hold us back.
Absolutely. We've all got those inner critics.
Yeah.
So how do we silence them?
Well, Hill identified one limitation that he saw as particularly damaging: intolerance.
Intolerance.
Yeah, he called it a grievous sin. It can poison relationships, stifle creativity.
It can really hold us back.
He did. And he gave some examples of how intolerance can lead to downfall, like feuding business partners who were so focused on being right that they destroyed their own company.
It's like sometimes our egos get in the way of our success.
Yeah, and he talked about the falling out between Andrew Carnegie and Henry Clay Frick, two incredibly successful businessmen whose friendship and partnership were shattered by their intolerance of each other's views.
Wow. It's a reminder that even brilliant minds can be brought down by their own limitations.
It is. And Hill argued that recognizing and addressing our own intolerance, our own biases, was essential for growth. He even outlined 20 qualities that he believed were crucial for leaders of the future. Things like self-control, courage, a willingness to cooperate, a deep understanding of human nature.
It's like a blueprint for ethical and effective leadership.
And he even cited Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, as an example of a leader who achieved incredible success while maintaining a strong sense of fairness, treating his employees and customers with respect.
It's inspiring to see how these principles play out in the real world, how individuals can achieve great things while staying true to their values.
And Hill believed that imagination played a crucial role in cultivating those qualities of leadership. He shared this fascinating story about Clarence Saunders, a grocery clerk who revolutionized the industry with his Piggly Wiggly self-service concept.
Piggly Wiggly, I've heard of that. Isn't that one of the first self-service grocery stores?
It was. He had this vision, this idea to completely change the way people shopped for groceries.
It makes you wonder how many other brilliant ideas are out there just waiting for someone with the imagination to see them.
Hill believed we could all cultivate that creative spark. He reminded us that those groundbreaking inventions, like Edison's light bulb, they didn't just appear out of thin air.
Right. It was years of experimentation, of persistence, of combining existing knowledge in new ways.
Remember Edison's famous quote, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration."
Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And even Andrew Carnegie, who was known for his business acumen, he admitted that he wasn't a genius in every area.
But he was brilliant at recognizing and utilizing the imagination of others. He built his mastermind group, this team of specialists, to provide the creative fuel for his success.
It's like he created an imagination think tank. What a great idea. And speaking of great ideas, Hill shared so many inspiring stories of individuals who used their imaginations to overcome incredible odds. Like that young man who sent him $10, basically paying for the opportunity to learn from him.
That's initiative. And then there's the story of Edwin Barnes, who was so determined to work for Thomas Edison that he rode a freight train all the way to West Orange, New Jersey, just to get an interview.
Wow, that's dedication.
And his persistence paid off. He not only got the job, but he eventually became Edison's business partner. These stories are so inspiring. But I think a lot of people struggle with feeling stuck, like they've lost that creative spark.
Yeah, we've all been there. So how do we develop our imagination?
Well, Hill had some practical advice for that. He suggested keeping a notebook handy and jotting down every idea that comes to mind, no matter how silly it might seem.
Don't censor yourself, just let those ideas flow.
Exactly, and seek inspiration from unexpected sources. Nature, art, music, conversations with people from different backgrounds.
Expand your horizons, step outside your comfort zone.
And he even suggested turning the world upside down, like looking at problems from the opposite perspective.
I like that. It's like shaking things up, looking at things with fresh eyes.
And he compared the process of developing imagination to mixing chemicals. Sometimes, the right combination can create something completely new and valuable.
Like the man who transformed those useless hills into prime real estate. It's amazing what you can do with a little imagination.
Right. And Hill believed imagination was crucial for success in any field, even salesmanship. He said, to be successful in sales, you have to genuinely believe in the value of what you're selling.
You got to see it in your mind before you can convince anyone else.
Exactly. And he shared a story about David Lloyd, an African-American man from Alabama who built a successful shipbuilding empire. And this was at a time when opportunities for African-Americans were incredibly limited, especially in the South.
That's incredible. How did he do it?
Well, he knew he needed to showcase his skills, but he was facing this huge challenge. No one was willing to give him a chance. It was a catch-22.
So how did he break through?
He came up with this brilliant idea. He offered to repair ships for free in exchange for photographs of his work, and those photographs became his portfolio.
Wow. He created his own opportunity.
He did. And Hill believed this principle of understanding human nature, of appealing to self-interest, was essential for success.
It's about finding those win-win solutions.
Exactly. And he gave a great example of this from his own life. Remember the story of his wife distracting their baby with a red candy stick?
Oh, yeah. The baby was banging on the table, and instead of getting frustrated, she gave him something sweet.
Exactly. She understood his motivation. He wanted something sweet, so she offered a solution that benefited both of them.
Classic win-win.
Right. And Hill believed this principle applied to all our interactions, whether we're dealing with colleagues or family members.
It's about taking the time to understand the other person's perspective, their needs, their motivations.
And then finding those creative solutions that meet everyone's needs.
And speaking of creative solutions, Hill had some really fascinating insights into the power of suggestion.
Oh, he did. And he illustrated this with a story about a fruit merchant in Philadelphia. Now, this was back when fruit wasn't considered a luxury item.
Right. But this guy, he charged premium prices for his fruit.
So how did he get away with that?
He understood the power of presentation. He didn't just sell fruit, he sold an experience. Instead of piling it on a table, he arranged it beautifully in baskets, creating this sense of abundance and luxury.
Oh, I get it. It's like people are willing to pay more for something that looks and feels special.
Exactly. It's all about the experience. And he used another example, the contrast between a cheap diner and an upscale cafe.
The food might be very similar, but the ambiance, the whole vibe, is totally different.
You're paying for the experience. And he saw this firsthand at Marshall Field's in Chicago, one of those prestigious department stores. Every detail was meticulously designed to enhance the customer experience.
It was all about creating that feeling of quality, exclusivity.
And that's the power of suggestion. The environment, the presentation, even the smallest details can influence our perceptions.
It's like creating an immersive experience. Exactly. And he shared another story that really illustrates this power of suggestion. Dr. Harper, the president of the University of Chicago, needed $1 million to build a new hall.
$1 million. Back then, that was a fortune.
It was. And instead of approaching a large group of donors, he focused his attention on two wealthy men. And get this, they were bitter rivals.
Oh, that's interesting.
He went to one of the millionaire's offices unannounced and started talking about legacy, about how money loses its identity when it changes hands. And then he casually mentioned the rival's name.
He was playing on his ego.
Exactly. He knew that appealing to this guy's desire to one-up his rival would be far more effective than simply asking for a donation.
And did it work?
Oh, it worked brilliantly. The very next day, the millionaire called Dr. Harper, practically begging to donate the $1 million.
Wow. That's incredible. It's like he understood human psychology. He knew how to push the right buttons.
And Hill believed that every business needed a dreamer, someone who could see beyond the obvious and envision those new possibilities. He even challenged his readers to come up with imaginative ideas for businesses. And some of his suggestions, which seemed pretty revolutionary at the time, actually became successful ventures.
Like what? What kind of things did he suggest?
Things like vending machines, automatic railroad crossing controls to prevent accidents, using automobile licenses to create direct-to-consumer markets for farm produce, roadside gas stations with lunch stands to attract more customers.
He was way ahead of his time.
He was, and it reminds us that the world is full of opportunities. We just need the imagination to see them.
And the courage to pursue them. And when we combine that imagination with enthusiasm, that's when the magic happens.
Absolutely. And Hill had some really interesting things to say about enthusiasm. He described it as the steam that powers the locomotive, the driving force behind action.
It's that energy that propels us forward.
And he said it's contagious.
Oh, totally. You meet someone who's truly passionate about something, and it's infectious.
Right. Their enthusiasm becomes fuel for your own fire. And Hill shared a personal anecdote about working through the night, completely absorbed in his writing. He was so engrossed in his work that he didn't even notice the time passing.
We've all been there, lost in that flow state where time just disappears.
That's enthusiasm. It makes you feel unstoppable. But what if you're not naturally enthusiastic? Can you actually develop it?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Do we create enthusiasm? Or is it just something you either have or you don't?
Well, Hill believed you could cultivate it. And it starts with focusing on your definite chief aim, that burning desire that fuels your actions.
It's like your North Star guiding you, giving you direction.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And even if you can't pursue your dream job right now, just having that goal in mind, that vision for the future, can spark enthusiasm.
It's about keeping that dream alive. And Hill also talked about the power of suggestion, how our thoughts and beliefs can influence others, even without saying a word. He called it telepathy. But what he was really getting at is that our mental state, our energy, has a subtle but powerful impact on the people around us. It's like what you think you become. If you're constantly radiating negativity, it's going to affect the people around you.
Exactly. And he illustrated this with an anecdote about two letters he wrote requesting endorsements for his book. One was written hastily, without much thought or emotion. The other was carefully crafted, infused with genuine enthusiasm and an understanding of how to appeal to the recipient's self-interest.
And which one got the endorsement?
The one written with passion, of course.
It's a good reminder that even in written communication, our enthusiasm or lack thereof shines through. You can't fake it.
Hill was a big believer in the power of our thoughts. He even went so far as to say that we often manifest our own realities through our beliefs. And to illustrate this, he shared a story about a woman who was absolutely convinced that she had cancer. And sadly, she did end up succumbing to the disease. Now, we know that cancer is a complex illness with many factors
Of
involved,
course.
but Hill's point was that our thoughts and beliefs can have a significant impact on our health and well-being.
It's like the placebo effect. If
Yeah.
you believe something is going to heal you, it's more likely to have a positive effect.
Exactly. And conversely, if you're constantly dwelling on illness and negativity, it can have a negative impact on your health. It's not about ignoring real problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on the positive, on the possibilities.
Cultivating a more optimistic outlook.
Exactly. And to further illustrate the power of suggestion, he shared a story about this really brilliant piece of advertising he received. It was a booklet filled with news clippings about stolen cars.
Yep.
And on the back page, it simply said, "Your car may be the next one to go. Is it insured?"
Oh, talk about tapping into people's fears.
Right. It was very effective marketing. And Hill admitted that he couldn't resist calling the insurance salesman to get a quote. It's a great example of how understanding human psychology, knowing how to connect with people on an emotional level, can be incredibly powerful.
It's not about manipulation. It's about understanding people's needs and presenting your product or service as a solution.
Speaking of understanding human nature, Hill also shared an anecdote about a salesman who approached him about subscribing to the Saturday Evening Post. This guy practically begged for the sale. He said something like, "You wouldn't subscribe just to help me out, would you?" It was so desperate, totally lacking in any enthusiasm or appeal to self-interest.
It's like that approach just makes you want to run the other way.
Exactly. And he contrasted this with the much more effective approach of the letter he received, requesting an endorsement for his book. That letter neutralized the reader's resistance and appealed to their desire to help others.
It's a great example of the difference between an amateur and a master salesperson.
The master salesperson understands that it's not about begging or pleading. It's about creating that win-win situation, showing the other person how they benefit from the exchange. And Hill believed that this ability to connect with others, to understand their motivations, stemmed from having a strong character. He believed that we build character by living in alignment with our values. He shared a story about how he was once offered a large sum of money to write propaganda for a foreign government, but he turned it down.
He wasn't willing to compromise his principles.
Exactly. And he believed that anyone could build a strong character through the power of autosuggestion. By focusing on the qualities we want to develop, by aligning our thoughts and actions with our highest values.
So it's about making conscious choices, about being intentional with our thoughts and actions.
Precisely. Hill believed that true success was a holistic endeavor. It's not just about our professional achievements, it's about our character, our relationships, our contributions to the world. He emphasized the importance of finding work that we love, surrounding ourselves with positive and inspiring people, achieving financial security, mastering and applying the principles of success, taking care of our physical health, helping others, and even dressing for success.
It's fascinating how he connected all of these elements. It's not just about working hard, it's about creating a life that's truly fulfilling on all levels.
Exactly. And he believed that enthusiasm played a crucial role in achieving that. He described it as the steam that powers the locomotive.
It's that energy that propels us forward, that inspires us to take action.
And he believed we could cultivate that enthusiasm by focusing on our definite chief aim, that burning desire that fuels our actions. He suggested writing it down in clear, concise language, developing a plan to achieve it, and reading it over every night before bed, visualizing ourselves already in possession of our goal.
Like planting a seed and nurturing it with positive energy.
Exactly. And he believed we should do this with unwavering faith and all the enthusiasm we can muster, believing that it would inevitably attract success into our lives. It's really about believing in what you're doing.
Yeah, like really feeling it.
He talked about Billy Sunday, the evangelist.
Oh, yeah.
His passion, his conviction drew people in.
Totally. It's like magnetic. You can't help but be drawn to that.
And Hill pointed out that Sunday was using the same principles that master salespeople use.
Interesting.
Selling his message with conviction, energy, belief.
It resonated with his audience.
Yeah, he wasn't just delivering a message, he was embodying it.
Powerful stuff. So did Hill have any other examples of like how to really ignite that enthusiasm?
Oh, he did. He told a story about a sales manager, Hugh Chalmers. His company was in trouble.
Oh, no.
Sales team had lost their mojo.
Tough spot.
So Chalmers calls this big meeting, and in front of everyone, he has a young shoeshine boy shine his shoes.
A shoeshine boy?
I know, right? It was so unexpected that everyone's attention was immediately on him.
Okay, I see where this is going.
And then Chalmers launches into this incredible speech comparing the successful shoeshine boy to his struggling salesman.
Oh, I love it.
It's like, look, this kid is thriving in the same environment where the previous shoeshiner failed.
The market's not the problem.
Exactly. It's the mindset. He was
Yeah.
like, I need you guys to step it up, recapture that enthusiasm.
Brilliant. Did it work?
Oh, it did. The sales team was totally re-energized, saved the company from financial ruin.
Wow, what a story.
It's a classic. It became known as Hugh Chalmers' $1 Million Shoeshine.
I love that. It shows the power of leadership, inspiring others through action and belief.
It's amazing how a simple act can change everything.
Yeah, combined with a powerful message, of course. So did Hill offer any other practical tips for like day-to-day cultivating enthusiasm?
He did. He said, first of all, find work you love.
Yeah, if you're passionate about what you do, it shows.
That enthusiasm shines through.
When you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work.
Exactly. He also said, surround yourself with positive, optimistic people.
Enthusiasm is contagious after all.
Choose your company wisely.
You got to be mindful of the energy you're allowing into your life.
He also talked about financial success, reducing stress, and freeing up mental energy.
Yeah, when you're not constantly worried about money, you can focus on your passions.
Right. It creates space for enthusiasm.
Build that solid foundation.
Another tip was to master those 17 principles of success that he outlines in his books.
Right. If you see those principles working in your own life, it's super motivating.
Absolutely. It's like having that roadmap to success.
Keep you on track.
He also emphasized taking care of your physical health.
Oh, that's so important.
When you feel good physically, you have more energy.
More enthusiasm naturally.
And his last tip was dress for success.
I can see that. When you look good, you feel good.
And when you feel good, you're more likely to succeed.
It's all connected.
So to wrap up our deep dive into Hill's ideas on imagination and enthusiasm,
Such a fascinating journey through his work.
I want to leave you with one final question.
Okay.
How can you apply these principles in your own life?
To achieve your goals and create a truly fulfilling life.
That's the challenge I leave you with.
Hill's work is full of timeless wisdom.
It's amazing how relevant it still is.
By using our imaginations, cultivating that enthusiasm, and embracing those principles of success, we can achieve great things.
We really can.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Napoleon Hill's law of success.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Until next time, keep those imaginations fired up.
And remember,
Anything is possible if you believe.